Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the low light visibility, but I'm actually in a cabin in the woods in Wisconsin. And yeah, if you haven't heard, the president said he is going to solve the problem here of all the smoke that's in the air from that Canada fires, the wildfires, by imposing more tariffs on Canada. Oh, that'll be excellent for the bourbon, for the soy, for everything else in Kentucky, right? Not. Yeah, can you believe that? He says is they're mismanaging the fires there in Canada, so they need tariffs to be imposed. Of course, part of the smoke is also from next door in Minnesota, but I'm right here on the border, literally, of Wisconsin and Michigan. I'm way up here in Wisconsin on a vacation for a family reunion. But let's get into it. Yesterday afternoon at 4:30, in a conference room at the Justice Department, the man who wants to be Attorney General of the United States finally did the thing survivors of Jeffrey Epstein have been asking him to do for months. He sat down and met with them. Now, it only took a Republican senator publicly threatening to tank his nomination unless he did so. And when it was over, here's what one of those survivors, Dani Bensky, said happened in that room. Todd Blanche treated the meeting as a mere check in the box exercise intended to secure votes for his confirmation. Check the box. Not accountability, not good faith, a box. Ticketed so a senator would vote yes. Tonight, what that meeting actually tells us, and a quick, good piece of news to close out a story we've been following for weeks. Y'all, let's go. I'm not frozen, I promise.
Standing for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Built upon the shoulders of the Constitution, rule of law, and the animating principle that we are all created equal. I need to hear a hallelujah, though I'm not considered a believer by some. I still believe in the warmth of heaven come. I need the rapture I feel when my feet touch the green, green grass of home. Then I know I have reached the valley of kingdom come. And when I reach that valley, I need to see you there, because we don't need a kingdom, we only need free air. We don't seek a king, we seek the brotherhood of man. And we won't fight for bondage, as we need no king or woman. We will stand undivided, because we will raise the fallen. Now I need to hear a
All right, so we know now that the victims are not at all pleased, right? But welcome to the Hillbilly Think Tank with Spencer Keck. I am the educated hillbilly, and no, that is not an oxymoron. Don't call me a moron. There have been educated, erudite, emancipated hillbillies in Kentucky ever since my kith and kin came through the Cumberland Gap with Daniel Boone, the Long Hunters, on their quest for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in Kentucky. And y'all, they found it by creating it and working hard for it right in Kentucky. So I'm Spencer Keck, retired Navy doc, combat veteran, current public school teacher, and candidate for magistrate on the Hardin County Fiscal Court, District 3. Now, first part, the meeting that was forced Quick recap for anybody catching this show mid-story. Earlier this week, Todd Blanche's confirmation hearing produced a slip. I'm his lawyer. I was his lawyer. That was his slip. And a mountain of hard questions. One of the hardest. Epstein survivors, including Dani Bensky, testified that Blanche had spent 9 hours personally meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's convicted co-conspirator, but had never once met with the survivors. He had never once met with them. That's when Republican GOP Senator Thom Tillis drew a line. He told Blanche in the hearing that he would not vote to advance his nomination unless Blanche met with the survivors and their lawyers. Not a suggestion, a condition. And by Thursday afternoon, Blanche was in a room with them, a meeting that by multiple accounts came together haphazardly, arranged in a hurry after Tillis's ultimatum. Here's how the people in that room described what happened. Bensky's statement. Blanche danced around his wording, repeatedly interrupted us, and could not commit to anything that would demonstrate a good faith or being to restore trust. She said, did not adequately account for the release of materials that expose survivors' identifying information and images, and offered no credible plan to investigate and pursue accountability beyond Epstein and Maxwell themselves. Another survivor, Laura Bloom McGee, called him condescending and put it this way. He treated it like a perfunctory audition for votes, not accountability. And Amanda Roberts, sister-in-law of the late Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's most well-known victims, told CNN it felt like he had only done it because his hand was forced. That's not one angry voice. That's a room full of people independently describing the exact same thing. And Bensky's closing line to the Senate was blunt. I hope Senator Tillis will recognize that this meeting was insufficient. Todd Blanche is not qualified to serve as Attorney General. Next segment, the senator who got what he asked for, sort of. Now here's the part that ought, y'all, to frustrate you no matter which party you vote for. Tillis got exactly what he demanded, a meeting, and then praised Blanche for it anyway. On social media, right after, I commend Todd Blanche for doing what all his predecessors over the last 2 decades never did, meet with the victims of Epstein's horrific crimes. I appreciate his willingness to directly engage and listen to them. Now, Senator Cornyn, the other Republican holdout, also encouraged the meeting and favorably. The White House press office called Blanche's work excellent and said he continued doing so as Attorney General. So the very survivors in that room are telling you on the record that it was a box checking exercise. Just check it off. And the senator who forced the box to be checked is publicly commending the box for existing. A CNN analyst named Luke Thomas put it about as sharply as I've heard all week. This is a small hurdle to put in front of a guy who is manifestly unqualified. If you really had genuine antipathy for the president's agenda in any kind of real way, that's not a real hurdle. His prediction on the record for you to hold him to, Tillis folds and votes yes anyway. We'll know soon enough whether he's right. Now, y'all, I'm a veteran who's sat through plenty of check in the box exercise in my 24 years in the military. But I know that what real accountability looks like versus what performing it looks like. And I'm sure many of you do too. Now, strong words to Congress attributed, not mine. Here we go. One more voice from this week, and I want to hand you her exact words because they're hers to say, not mine to repeat as fact. Arizona Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari went on television and called the administration's handling of the Epstein files the biggest cover-up in American history. Said Blanche is a monster who should go to jail, and argued he and Vice President Vance both deserve investigation, pointing to a meeting Vance reportedly held in the White House Situation Room, a room she noted is historically reserved for matters of war and terrorism, not this kind of crap. Now, this is a sitting member of Congress's characterization, stated as her opinion and her accusation, not a jury's verdict, not mine, and not a fact I'm asserting on this show. I lay it out because you deserve to know what your representatives in Washington are actually saying in public in your name this week. And you get to decide for yourself whether the temperance of that language matches the facts we've laid out tonight. I'll just say this much plainly. That's all I can do. Whether or not you use her words, check the box from the survivors themselves, is plenty enough reason to withhold your trust until it is earned. Next segment, closing the loop. Good news on Senator McConnell. Now, a quick welcome update because this show has been spent, plenty of weeks demanding transparency on this exact point, and transparency is exactly what finally showed up. This past Sunday, Senator McConnell's office released a photograph. The senator in a hospital bed alongside his wife, Elaine Chao, along with a statement from the senator and his physician. And here's the good news, plainly. No heart attack, no stroke, no concussion, no tumor, no hemorrhage. He was briefly unconscious after a fall, and he's recovering. I'm glad. I said so on this show more than once, that I wished him healing, and I meant it every single time. I'll also tell you honestly, that photo immediately got picked apart online, some claiming that it was AI generated or recycled. Now, an independent fact check traced that specific claim to an AI hallucinated, zoomed in image of the newspaper he was holding. In other words, the tool people used to prove the photo was fake was itself inventing fake details. The photo itself, they say it checks out. That's worth knowing, here in an age where the tools we use to catch a lie can manufacture, they can go and manufacture one of their own lies. Rumors, they grow in the dark. But, like I said a week ago, and it looks like a little bit of light maybe finally got let in. Good, if it's real, of course. Segment, the line, fair is fair. Quickly, because I always give this. Blanche's defenders have really a real point buried here. He did show up, whatever the motive, whatever the manner. A meeting that survivors have been requesting for months finally happened face to face this week. Now, that's better than the silence that came before it. And of course, Tillis and Cornyn engaging at all, using real leverage to force a real meeting. It is exactly what oversight is supposed to look like, messy as it was. But here's my answer, y'all. And it's short. Showing up because you were forced to, that's not the same thing as showing up because it was right. Our mamaws and papaws and mom and dads, they all taught us this. That measure of good faith was never where the meeting, whether it happened or whether it didn't happen. It was what happened inside of the meeting. And by every account from everyone in that room, what happened inside that meeting was evasion. A box checked, not a wrong addressed, not a grievance redressed. Let's bring it home to Hardin County. So bringing it home because this is a test that I'd ask any public servant to pass, mine included. There's a word of difference and a whole world of difference between a public official who shows up to a hard conversation because constituents finally force the issue, and one who's going to show up because it's simply what you owe the people you serve. Now, come on, think about it. How many times have you had a boss that you felt this way about? Oh, they're just doing this to check the box. They don't really care about us. They just want to give lip service. I know we've all felt that. How many times have you had someone say sorry to you? You knew they're just checking a box. They didn't mean it. Think about little kids. They do that all the time. And that's what this guy, you could see he was a petulant little kid caught and checking off a box. I watched the whole thing live, and that's the way I felt. All right, before I continue on, let's see what comments we got here. All right, Coffee Cats. Blanche belongs in prison. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Angela Lara. Let's see. Angela Lara, what are you saying tonight? Angela says, oh, I'm scrolling. Okay, that's cool. Where are you? Okay, yep. I'm on a vacation in Wisconsin. Not driving. Nope. I'm sitting in the dark on a bench outside the cabin I'm staying in so I don't wake all the family up while I make this. All right. So cool. Now, talk about the standard that I will hold myself to at a fiscal court meeting if y'all will elect me for magistrate. I will show up before, you're even forced to, not after. That's what I'll do. I'll never need a senator's ultimatum to sit down with somebody in this county of, well, I'll say Hardin County, not here, who's hurting and is a hard question for me. That's not a favor I'm doing you. That's the whole job of magistrate in the fiscal court. So, y'all, thanks for listening. I'm Spencer Keck, the educated hillbilly, and this has been the Hillbilly Think Tank. Come to a fiscal court meeting. Bring your hardest question. Whether I earn your vote or not, we can sit down there and we'll answer it together. I'll see you there. Keep thinking deeply. And y'all remember, in Kentucky, united we stand, divided we fall. That is not just words on a flag. That is the glue that holds every single one of us together. Because if we love our neighbors as ourselves and recognize that, yes, we are our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper, then we cannot be divided and we will not fall. Remember, everyone deployed overseas, as we know they're in harm's way right now for us. And bless your corazón, that is Spanish for heart. This whole thing that I make here on the phone is paid for by Spencer Keck. Learn more at spencerkeckmagistrate.com. Y'all have a great, 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 great time this week. And hopefully you guys are not breathing any smoke like we are up here on vacation. This vacation in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's beautiful, but the smoke, man, from Chicago all the way up, it's been horrible.